Hello and welcome to the Trisbrina Show. Today we are having so much fun talking to you about activating soul guidance on the regular. Something that's near and dear to all of our hearts because we're all souls. And let's talk about it. And please contribute in the chat if you're joining us live. We did see a lot of folks peeping in. Okay,
first I want to say there is nothing more important to me than the conversation that we're going to have. Absolutely.
Agreed.
As much as I can, 24/7, every minute of every hour, every second of every hour, I strive for that connection.
Yeah.
And I've been through down a lot of paths of misunderstanding it. And what I'm excited to share with you tonight is my newest understanding, right? Because as an evolving soul, as someone who's going to evolve through eternity, I still am going to discover new things. So I always like to say, this is my current understanding. And I haven't even told Tristan yet, but
Good.
I had this whole new thing that I'm so excited about.
And we want to know what your experience of soul guidance is. You know, there's different ways that we can talk about it. Why don't we start with a definition? You know, I'll throw one in, you throw one in, and if you're live, you can throw one in the chat too. So, what is soul guidance to you? Do you want to go first?
Can you use more words and ask that question?
No, I want to keep it simple.
Are you saying, what does it mean to be directed by soul guidance? Is that what you're
I'll
saying?
go first. Soul guidance. What does it mean to have this connection, this guidance that's coming from within? So I'm going to talk about soul as something that is my innate essence, not something outside myself, not some spiritual third dimension in the fifth sphere in the fourth quadrant.
Not your great-grandfather?
Not my great-grandfather, not in some other plane or realm, or I'm not going there. I'm going to go with there's a guidance within.
Is it the spark of source?
I wouldn't define it as such.
No, I
You
wouldn't.
might. There is a connection within, and I often find myself pointing here because I have felt things happen inside of me where this heart center opens up, and I feel that this is the brain of my soul, the brain of my being, and I get uploads. So some people call them downloads, and I think downloads are a very real thing, certainly had them myself. But there's an upload, an inner knowing, that then informs my mind of who and what is right for me. Right meaning right action, right decision making, a feeling of guidance. So it's an inner knowing with a guidance that helps me make decisions in my life that are aligned to what I believe my soul wants for me in this life. That's my definition of soul guidance. Over to you.
That was really good. So I'm going to move on
Oh, yeah.
to say, if we go with Tristan's definition,
If we go there. Hypothetically.
how would one I will answer this question that I am asking. How would one turn up the volume? Because that's what a lot of people say. I don't know how to tap into my intuition. I don't know what I'm feeling. I'm not hearing the God whisper. I only get the gut feeling when I'm scared. How do I hear it more? Well, you need to be on the channel that the guidance and the direction and the hints and the love comes from. I think that's really, really important. And I've been thinking a lot about this. Like, if I want to be tuned in to hear the soul guidance, well, what channel does the soul come on? We'll just make up, what do you want it to be?
Well, it's got to be on Sirius XM.
Okay.
Because we want satellite.
Sirius
for sure.
XM. Then the soul guidance for me is in the frequency and the vibration of kindness, goodness, love. It is not in the frequency of blame, jealousy, limited belief, anxiety. It's not on that channel. So in order to really hear, I've got to get in the channel to speak the same language. Right? It's like my soul speaks this certain language, and I have a really good ear to hear it when I'm listening and understanding that language. Much harder to hear it when I'm on a completely different station and in a different vibration from it.
I love that you called it a language. Not like love language per se, that particular training or books, but I do feel that exactly. There's a feeling, a knowing, a feeling that's like a language that I'm learning to speak. And it's as if as I become aware of what I'm feeling, you know how thoughts become feelings in the body? Well,
Yeah.
feelings, frequency, I think you used the term vibration, can become a thought, a perception. And I'm learning how to read the language of my soul through my feelings, through the listening skills. Okay, back to you, boss.
Well, like I sent you a text this morning. Actually, I put it in the team chat, and someone on the team wrote back, I don't know what this means, because they thought it was something with the business. And I just said, your manifestation is off when your vibration is off. Right? So we can look at something that's happening around us. And what's happening around us is what we feel, who we see. You just look around you, right? That's your manifestation. And if you're like, that's off. Well, no, that's not off. My vibration was off because my vibration created everything that's around me to take full responsibility for. But I want to ponder this. And, you know, our poor little human brains trying to summarize and encapsulate and have a conversation about something that's so much bigger than us, from the source of all there is, right? This life force that is at the core of everything, whether you want to call it God, source, right? And our little human brains are like, well, this is my opinion.
This is my understanding of the source of all that
Yay
is.
for you, right? Yay for me. But I was just thinking today,
We're trying.
There's such a story that we have, like, maybe it goes like this. I was a soul, and then there's this firm line, and then it's like, and then I was born, and I have a physical life, and then I died, and I'm a soul again. And I do not think that's the way it is, right?
What's your opinion?
Well, my opinion
What
is
you got?
something that today I am calling candy cane consciousness.
What? Well, here we go, people. Candy cane consciousness.
Candy cane consciousness, because here's my experience. I'm a soul that then also has a physical experience, kind of like our map, the physical body and the energy body and the heart, right? There's different components to it. And the soul on its own didn't need the body, right? It just do whatever. So it wanted, like, I want a body. So should we disregard the body and the brain and the strategies and the intelligence and the feeling of all these emotions, which is a big part of what life is all about, and try to go sit in a cave and ohm and forget about the body and try to get back to just being the soul while you're still alive? You're going there anyway, so why waste this time? And then, is it about just being physical? Is it just about getting stuff and climbing the ladder and feeling great joy and feeling great pain? No. For me, it's not Act 1 and Act 2, and then kind of starting over, Act 1, Act 2. You're both on stage at the same time. The human experience is the blending of that, let's say, your inner being, the source within you, your life force, your soul guidance, with the physical reality, the way a candy cane is. It's swirled together.
There we go. The candy
it's
cane.
swirled together. That's the most fulfilling as an artist and as an athlete and just as a person. But I have had moments that I just feel such in flow. We watched a little video of a little boy playing a guitar yesterday morning.
The one where he was just lost in it?
Yeah, just totally lost in it. And you're like, oh my gosh, that's artistry. And it was because he was so blended with the physical him and source of life itself. And I think that's the most fulfilling thing, and that's what a lot of people call flow state, is this incredible blending. And the misunderstanding that I think a lot of people have when they're like, I can't hear my intuition, is because they think about this like Act 1 and then Act 2, and they don't know that the voice of source and the voice of soul and the voice of guidance sounds very much like their own. It doesn't sound like Santa Claus, right? It doesn't sound like something coming from the sky, right? It just sounds like you when you're perfectly blended. It's that highest version of you, because when you're tuned into that channel of that vibration, it's twinsies. You're just intertwined in candy cane consciousness.
Lee says, everything I've been reading and been a bit confused of how it all works together was just answered right now with the candy cane analogy. Thank you, Miss Sabrina.
You know, somebody said once, and I heard them say this, and I loved it. And they said, the whole point of the inner being is to get out. Is to forget the inner being gets to participate in the outer. Right? That's such joy. And I felt such separation and worked so hard to have remembrance as though there were two. And only when I am in the experience of this delightfulness of it all being one, where it doesn't even occur to me that I'm separate from something, is it the most joyful.
Well, friends, if you're just joining us, we're talking about activating soul guidance on the regular. And Sabrina just dropped the analogy of her candy cane consciousness has to do with blending of the physical and the non-physical.
It's a good book.
Yeah, from being tapped into this energy through flow state, perhaps, feeling the essence within your body and being the essence itself. There's so many ways we can talk about this conversation. So I would like to introduce the art of receptivity, the ability to notice what's happening within you, to be able to notice the guidance, to be able to not only read it, but what to do with it. So, and to not forsake it or doubt it. Have you ever had something incredible come through you and you're like, oh my gosh, I can see so clearly, and then the mind came in and second guessed your insight? You were tapped in and then some fear or doubt came in.
Or you had an idea of something and then somebody was like, oh, come on.
And then you just, oh, well, maybe not. Well, there's knowing and there's friggin' knowing, right? Like you know. There's no questioning mind left to even doubt it, to second guess what you're experiencing. It's fully embodied within you. So one of the things that we find to be incredibly important is taking care of your body temple so that you become like a walking energy tester. You know, you've probably seen people do the muscle testing to get information through the body, right? The body doesn't lie. The body has an incredible intelligence with it and can speak directly to your subconscious mind. And you can ask the body questions and you can get deep inner knowing yes or no answers, providing your body is in a state where it's giving you clear information. So if your body is disrupted, if your energy channels are blocked, stagnant, sluggish, you're not going to be able to read your energy very well. And we believe that the way you are reading your energy is incredibly important when it comes to guidance.
Would you say, just inserting a question, that where something is blocked, those are little areas that are pinched off from the life force, pinched off from the flow or the guidance?
Well, they are what lead to what people call negative emotion, right? So when something's disrupted or blocked or pinched off, as you say, the energy isn't flowing as well, and that energy causes a feeling, what you would call a negative emotion. It's just you reading your energy. So we want to be able to read that energy, though, and not judge it, and listen to it, and use it as guidance to get back into flow. So that may not be soul guidance yet. Well, it is indirectly. It's your soul saying, hey, you're out of flow, dude. I'm going to get your attention and make you feel uncomfortable. I'll lead it to physical pain if I have to. This is where it gets really interesting when you start to see the blessings in disguise. And at first, it's not like that. We had a teacher that used to say suffering is grace in disguise. But if you think about it, if pain is your friend, if you could reframe this and understand that it's a wake up, it's a reminder, it's soul basically saying, hey, you're out of flow.
Yep.
Your energy's getting pinched off.
That's emotional or physical.
I love you enough to give you this discomfort, this discord, this contrast in your life to bring you back.
Yep.
That's a guidance system working. That's your emotional guidance system working for you.
In that moment, I'm just a white stick of candy because I'm not.
You're not blended
I'm
yet.
not in agreement. I'm not on the same channel as source, as life force, as soul.
All your color got drained out of you.
Yep.
Your life force got drained. You're blocked off from it.
Yeah, you're pinched off. Here's something interesting. So, as this blended being, there gets to be a lot of trust and a lot of faith.
Yeah.
And the more you are, the more you get blended. The more you get blended. I just get choked up thinking about that because it's so beautiful. So my GPS, if I compare that to a guidance system, and
Your God positioning system.
and I say like, okay, I want, my desire is to go over there. And as I'm driving, it's like, take a left at the next light. And 1 mile, take exit 411B, right? And I'm trusting as I go. I don't say, tell me every step along the way, and I'm going to memorize it and then do it. There's a relaxation to the playfulness in life when you have that faith and you have that trust and you're well blended, that you feel, and when something feels really good to the heart. Feels really good to the heart, feels really good to the candy cane consciousness, you can go with that. Now, here's a mistake I made years ago. It's like, well, if I trust, I'm just going to sit here like a dodo and not make any plans and just walk around and see what I'm guided to do. No, because then you're not blended. What's beautiful is we are these intelligent beings that can decide what we want and where we want to go and say, oh, that airline looks good and maybe I'll do that. And you can get to decide all those things. That's why it's co-creation. You're not just sitting on your butt eating Cheetos going, go figure it out, red part of the cane. No. And vice versa, it doesn't work. The white candy will never be satisfied. But when it's blended, both parts celebrate. Both parts celebrate.
I love the dynamics of this conversation. The things you guys are sharing live, what Sabrina's sharing here with this blended candy cane consciousness, super awesome.
Yeah.
And, some of this life force conversation about the channels, if you will, in the body. Because, we teach Qigong around here.
No way.
Yep, we actually do. We do, yeah. Every now and then we talk about Qigong. It's just sort of a thing that we like to talk about. Well, I like to talk about it. So we're talking about receptivity and wanting to refine. You want to refine your skill of listening, then you want to open up your body temple to be a better hearing aid, right? Sabrina likens the ability to hear the energy and what's being shared through the field to being like a human hearing aid. So when you have a good hearing aid, you can pick up the sound vibration and you can hear it well, and then your transducer, your eardrum, turns that into sounds that your brain can interpret, and then you decipher them with language. Well, that's what you're doing here in Soul School, is you're learning to decipher information and test the quality of that information. Meaning when something resonates with you and lights you up and you feel good and you're learning to trust, as you said, this frequency of information, that's your soul saying, ding, 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 you got it, buddy. You're right on track. And when you feel the dark bulb moment, the heavy, or your hearing aid's all screwed up, like either I'm not tapped in or that's just not quality frequency. That's someone going wah 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 wah.
Like Bart Simpson,
and you're just
listening to his teacher.
Talk to the hand, not my tribe. So you really want to develop the skill of listening to your energy. So through the body is an incredible place to do that. Now, when you talked about the heart, I had a little quick thingy I want to share is, as the energy rises within you, as the frequency gets more refined, you move out of those survival layers within the body. Nothing bad down here, nothing bad, all good energy, powerful energy. But as the frequency rises and starts coming up through, because energy rises, ascends through the central line, moves into your heart, there is that activation of soul guidance that really starts to kick in here. And the beautiful work that's being done in the world today is letting you know that your heart informs your mind. Your heart picks up information before your brain. Your heart can emanate greater electromagnetic signals, 5,000 times greater than your brain alone. And you can create what's known as heart-brain coherence, where the heart and the brain start to synchronize. And you start to get this, not only guidance, but this feeling of like, I know how to think now.
That's blended.
You're blending. Yeah. I know how to think consciously now.
I guess the fancy word would be coherence.
People say, oh, this is your conscious mind and you have a subconscious mind, but not all minds are conscious. You can call them conscious mind, just means you're consciously aware, but you're not conscious. And so when the heart starts to guide the mind, this is when it gets really rad. You start to make the most amazing decisions. And not only that, think about it. You're emanating signals into the universe. The universe is listening. Based on those signals, the clearer you're emitting, the clearer is coming back. You're sending out distorted signals, disrupted signals, you're going to get funky stuff showing up. So really try to own your energy and own what you're emanating.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because when you know that what you're emanating, you're not just emanating in the now, that in the now you are creating the next now. Right? So real quick story, and I won't get into all the details in this episode, but Bentley, our dog, was very, very, very sick. Terrifying for like 3 days. And I felt myself, starting to think about all the things that could be bad. Not from a place of being smart, not from a place of just figuring it out, but from a place of fear. And for those of you who have been through our Ninja program, which I hope everyone does at some time because it's freaking amazing, I knew that the best thing that I could do for Bentley was for myself to be in candy cane consciousness. So I knew exactly what to do and when to do it, and I could be so present with him. So I recalled, you ninjas that are here, I got into a perfect moment, and I immediately started doing my future frenzy. So I started seeing Bentley well, being able to walk, wanting to eat, and seeing him thriving. Because I knew that's the highest form of prayer, is to see someone as thriving, to see someone in wellness when they're ill. That's the biggest thing you can do. And it changed how I feel. I still felt such compassion and such love, but it was like knowing it was all going to be okay from this blended, beautiful place. I could be so present. And when I was in the fear place, it almost felt like a taking, right? Because when we're worrying, if we feel like I'm worrying because I care, but worrying can be a take on the energy. So in that moment, I kept my constant work, even though I was feeling so much emotion and I was trying to guide my emotion like, oh, I love him so much. I'm so sad. No, I love him so much. What is the highest thing I can do right now to help him to be so present and to know exactly what to do and when to do it? And everything worked out great. And he's eating and he's walking and he's okay.
Yeah, that was touch and go craziness. So, soul guidance. It's a beautiful, beautiful experience, but it has to be activated on the regular. That's why we said on the regular. So what do you do? What can you do to stay in connection with this inner knowing? What are some of the steps that you take? So Sabrina, I want to pitch it to you because you're so good at, you have this ability, we call it reframing at the speed of God. She has her moments where the non-blended wants to come in and then you're snapping back, and you're also keeping yourself in candy cane consciousness. So how are you doing
and there's,
this?
like I said, there's different layers of blend.
Yeah,
right?
Sure.
Well, I would say the first thing I do, and I sort of think about it as the day, is I decided certain things. From, I'm going to say the physical me. I decided, right? Because we get to decide and make our choices. So I decided that I was going to be aware of the energy in me, that I would be aware of source, that I would be aware of possibility as many moments as possible. And so I said, well, what if every time I roll over at night, I try to just be in, thank you, here we are together. Just to remember, right? Because the more I remember, the more I become. So that's one thing that I do. But first thing in the morning before I get out of bed, I just breathe for 15 minutes. And that's all I try to do is just focus on my breath, a meditation. Why? Because I'm remembering the channel that I tune into for kindness and love and compassion. And I remember goodness. And especially if right before I breathe, I think about something I'm really grateful for. So I tune in right away. Now, this could be a whole nother show, but meditation isn't necessarily like, I'm going to jump out of an airplane and have a crazy experience, right? You can approach it like that, like, I'm going to have a mystical experience right now. But it's also just like you go to the gym to work out, so maybe you look good at night, right? So sometimes the meditation and the breathing that we teach is because later in the day, I will have already been on the channel that I hear the blended messages from, right? I might get those genius ideas 6 hours later, but I got them because I tuned in early on. And then as soon as, the dogs go out and the dogs get fed and everything like that, we always move our bodies. We always move our bodies in some way. And staying in remembrance, I have a gazillion ways in Satori method to stay in remembrance. And it's remembering to stay in remembrance. That's the toughest part. Remembering to stay in remembrance. So years ago, like before we met, I decided that I would never walk through a door without remembering that I am not alone, that love travels with me, that God travels with me, that Source travels with me, that I am a being of light, and I am here as a kind soul to make a difference. And so when I would open a door, I would pause. 1, 2, and I would acknowledge that the beauty was walking in. And if I opened a car door, I would just pause, just 1 second, like, get in. And so I was finding ways to help myself remember. Because if I can remember to remember, I'm good. Easy things to do is have, if you're a member of the dojo and you're able to attend at least 1 class a week, it's like this deep dive. It's like taking a sponge and putting it in water, and it's as wet as it can be. And it's going to stay pretty damp for a while, right? That's what's great about nurturing the candy cane consciousness is it's not like you're wet or dry. You get to stay damp for quite a while. The symptoms linger.
Just want to say hi to those of you who did join us live today. We see you here in 2 Facebook areas, our Facebook business page, in our Facebook group called Energy Expansion, and on our Satori Method YouTube channel. So thank you all for being here. I'm going to try to share something that I've never shared in this way before, but it hit me as Sabrina was speaking, how I experience my ongoing connection to soul guidance, activating it on the regular. So
Well, that's good, activating.
I'm going to give it a go here, and hopefully it provides some insight or perhaps an epiphany for others. In this lifetime, I've been a fighter. I've been a hardcore warrior type, owned a dojo, martial arts, self-defense school, the largest school in Austin, for over 25 years. I've trained with a lot of military, law enforcement, fighter type individuals. And so when we bond together as men, we often talk about the spirit of the brotherhood, or of someone who's got good spirit. They're connected to a mission, to a purpose. And it feels very masculine and very powerful, very much like a lion. And it's a beautiful feeling to have that. And I have that in my heart, along with the seeming antithesis, which is very yin, very soft, very receptive, very open, I would say feminine. So I have a very masculine connection as well as a very feminine experience. So I want to talk about both, because I think that's the blending.
Yeah.
It's blended here, but it's also blended between the heart my head and the heaven. And I'm going to explain all of this. So the first is me as a human here, my experience of myself. I love being strong. I love being a provider, a protector, a leader for our tribe, standing for the truth. Kick butt, take names when you need to. All from love. I love that. And I think more people, especially in spiritual development, should not lose that or leave that behind from the idea that that's aggressive or that's the ego. I don't think so. There's ego. There's being a doink, being aggressive, being mean, being violent. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the love and the service, built to serve. Okay, so I have that feeling and I love it. But on the flip side of that, yin and yang, I have this very feminine, receptive experience when I connect to soul. And it feels like this. Someone asked earlier, do you believe that, I think they said allowing and, I forget.
Receiving.
Receiving
What's the
is the
difference
same.
between
Allowing and receiving. I think allowing enables receiving. Allowing is you get yourself into a state of openness that you can receive. So they work hand in hand. And so I get into a very, think of this is a male triangle and this is a female triangle. A male triangle feels assertive, right? Go strong. And a feminine triangle feels very receptive, open. So I have that male I told you about, but the receptive is very open, and it feels as if my soul connection is to receive the divine. So I have to give myself permission to have both energies. Is this tracking? And I also experience in the receptive, there's a rising up that seems to take place. When I allow myself to get open, I feel that there's, some people call it the cord, that is you as soul consciousness tethered to the divine at all times, whether you're in awareness of it or not. Your soul has never not been connected to source of all that is. It is that, and yet it's embedded in your being. Stay with me here. So when I go into the receptive meditation experience, I feel that I leave the physical form. And I feel that I am being made love to. Yes, I'm going there. I feel that I'm being absorbed into this divine field. And the sense of self and the egoic principle completely dissolves. And I feel like I'm just bathed in the divine. I've often lately said the life force is the lifeline to the divine. There's a lifeline, there's a cord, and I'm going up, but it's really not up. Yes, soul can leave through the top of the body. I don't know if you know that. You're going to leave out the top of your crown chakra. But there's another dimension. The field's right. You can't even point to it. It's just another state of consciousness.
Dimension.
It's another dimension. It's everywhere. It's everything. So I enter into this divine field. And in order to do that, I think it was the Bible, is it Jesus who says you have to get so tiny to go through the eye of the needle? You have to get so little, so tiny, so not there that you go through into this vastness. And you feel a sense of oneness. In martial art, Wu-Ji, it's called Wu-Ji or the Enso. It's like you dissolve into the oneness and you become pure essence. And then there's this feeling of coming back in. And the tether feels more clear to me that the divine lives in here. I am that. I'm just more aware of it now. So that essence is baked into your being, my being. We're just awakening or activating this soul connection that leads to soul guidance. So when you're in alignment with that, you have massive clarity. You have massive receptivity. You don't have that egoic, fear-based mind there causing reactivity and judgment and all of that. You're looking through a lens of love. You're masculine and feminine. You are balanced. You are in the oneness. And the art is to go into that dimension and bring it back and stay in it. And that's the path of mastery. Martial artists call it Budo. If you can stay in it, you might get knocked off, but you snap back so much faster. That's you activating soul guidance on the regular. So I hope that gave you some perspective so that you can embrace your masculine and your feminine, especially for the dudes out there. Like when you can allow yourself to get more receptive, all I can say is holy shemaze balls. Okay? Connecting to the feminine principle will change everything. And ladies, whether you be in a physical body or a male body, okay? No judgment on anything, because who are we to judge? If you can allow both energies, regardless of your biology, you will be in balance and you will be set free, in my experience. There you
And
go.
I think your enjoyment of playing with the blended listening, you have to let go of doing it right or not, or doing it wrong, or I'm not sure, right? You'll never be the part of the brain, the part of the personality that wants to be sure. That part of the brain isn't supposed to be sure. That part of the brain's job is to go, are you sure? So that you can, it kind of like keeps you in check. So I just want to say, don't wait for everything to go, oh yes, that's definitely the right way. Because where's the faith in that? You know, where's the heart in that? That's just being all physical experience. And I'm saying this because myself and so many of the students that we work with get down on themselves. Well, maybe I don't hear guidance. It's like, well, maybe it sounds just like you. Right? Like if I was a twin of me in the womb, and I was like holding my hands, that's the way my experience right now is of the life force, of the love, of the soul, of being with what I like to call source. It's like I'm there as both parts, but in the same womb, not separate. Separate, you'll always hear, I'm not sure, I think I'm making that up. That'll be the thing you say most often. I'm probably just making that up. You can do it, not me. So if you find yourself saying anything like that, it's just a misunderstanding. You've been guided all along, Dorothy. You've been getting the guidance all along. You just didn't know that's what it was. All those times that you felt happy, all those times that you felt in flow, all those times that you cried because it was so beautiful, you were merging, you were in flow, you were listening, you were showing up fully as all that you are, as that co-creator where that spark in you gets to participate in what you create. You've already been blended so much. You just were so blended that the person that steps outside and says, hey, I'm blended, wasn't there because they were blended.
You just said something important that closes my thing about the balance and then going into that other dimension. It is co-creation, because when that insight comes back and is embedded in your being a little bit more, it's you and that. It's words. You are one, but it is co-creation. It is you and the divine. It's the little you and the big you all becoming one.
And guess what? Both pieces, if you want to talk about them, are celebrating.
Yeah.
So what
Form and formless.
what if when we go and walk the dogs in the morning and we have the most beautiful birds that are singing. We have this one bird. He sits on the roof and he gets so happy singing.
Oh, he's so happy.
He jumps up
He can't help
like
it.
2 feet and goes, "Wah!" And then lands again.
He just has this
Right?
chi rising.
So when
His Kundalini
when
blows
we're
up.
looking and we're both looking at the bird and we're like, that's a freaking cartoon bird, and we're laughing. In that moment, the blended part of me is delighted, right? I feel like the soul part of me is loving seeing that bird, and the physical part of me is seeing that bird. It's not separate. And I think that's how Source continues to evolve, continues to create, continues to expand, continues to be so happy, is in the blended experience of the co-creating. It's so magical. There's nothing more important than this conversation, and that everything that we can do to live this conversation as many moments as possible.
Yes, that's why we do the Trisbrina Show. Because we're here together, reminding each other. Rumi said something about, oh, I just had it. We're like friends just walking each other home. It was something like that. It was one of his poems. We're just friends helping walk each other home. Isn't that amazing? Thank you for being in our lives. Thank you if you're just a long-standing Satorian, or if you're just new to this, you just happened upon it. We are actually pushing our love of this work out into the world more. You may have noticed there's more and more things coming through us. You should see us on more channels and such. And we're doing our best to stay very, very consistent. There's a lot that comes through here at Satori Method. We have a lot of opportunities to work together, to train together.
Yeah, just a handful of years ago, we would have these conversations, just the two of us in the kitchen.
Yeah,
and
we said we should share this with more
we
people.
should probably more people should hear these conversations, because I'm getting so much out of it.
Yes.
And I just want to say another thing. Don't get stuck on the words, the choices of words that we use. We all use different words to mean different things. Not only to mean different things, but to feel different things. And if there's a word that doesn't feel good for you, substitute it.
Yeah.
If there's a word that feels yucky for you, don't use it.
Yeah.
Right? None of us feel the same thing when we say a word. So, we try to use a lot of vocabulary where we say soul or source or love or life force or heart, right? To include everyone, or God.
Divine.
I love all those words. They're all in my candy cane, baby. All of them.
There's another. I was looking through some quotables today, and another one that
Just
you
in
might
your spare
enjoy
time?
in my spare time for our social media strategist. And this one came up, and I love it. It's don't mentor the message, not the messenger. Mentor the message, not the messenger. So the message is there. It's inside. Mentor that. We're not here to be guru. You be you. You be your own guru. But if you find messages that resonate, then mentor those.
Yeah.
Run them up the flagpole.
Yeah, we love inspirational conversations and listen to things that then spark more in us, just like you're doing right now. And we just finished up we just finished day 6 of a 5-day energy detox event, and the whole theme of it was, can you step into possibility this week? Can you live in possibility? Can you live in possibility to where it becomes probability? Because that's where miracles happen. And because we were working on our social media, and I was on a social media platform, and there were all these little short videos, there was one of Wayne Dyer. And I played it for Tristan, and he was saying, he was quoting the Bible, and he said, in God, all things are possible. And I was like, possibility. And he's like, all things are possible. Not some things, not most things, all things are possible. All. So went on to say, so how could we be pessimistic about anything, since all things, not most things, not some things, not like 99 out of 100, all things are possible. And if all things are possible, then we can just play in our imagination and play with all of these tools that we have in a very light and fun way, because that's going to swirl your colors the fastest.
Ooh, we're going to swirl some color. Thanks, everybody. We hope that you got some amazing insights. We certainly do, just by showing up.
We have an announcement. There's no cake tonight, but just stay tuned in the next few days if you're on our email list.
And if you're not, I know there's a link in the description that lets you get signed up for the Trisbrina Show reminders. And I believe there's a little gift or something there for you, too. Okay, big love. See you soon. Bye now. You gonna do your smiley face?